What's up, Taiwan? I'm Eric Gao, bringing you the news from here in Taipei. We begin with developments on Taiwan's diplomatic relations with the Pacific island nation of Tuvalu. Now, rumors have been swirling for weeks now that Tuvalu's new prime minister could break ties with Taiwan and switch to China. Louise Watt has been following the story, and she's joining us now from Taipei. Louise, what are you hearing?
Who will be Tuvalu's next prime minister? It's down to two candidates, and whoever wins out could mean the difference between Taiwan holding on to one of its few remaining diplomatic allies or losing it. Now, the 16 newly elected members of parliament in Tuvalu are discussing who that next leader should be. And I've been talking to people close to those negotiations, and the frontrunner appears to be 67-year-old Enele Saponga. He's a former prime minister, and he just this week expressed his support for maintaining the diplomatic relationship with Taipei. But he's up against the finance minister, Seve Panyo, who has said that he expects Tuvalu to review its diplomatic relationship with Taiwan after the new government is in place. And he's viewed as preferring to build relations with China.
Now, what would the loss of Tuvalu mean for Taiwan?
If Tuvalu goes, this will be a setback for Taiwan. It will be down to just 11 diplomatic allies, and it depends on these allies for recognition as a sovereign state. It would be a win for Beijing, which is trying to isolate Taipei on the world stage and also increase its influence in the Pacific region. But that said, Taiwan has been strengthening its ties with the United States and forging new friendships in Europe. So if it loses another diplomatic ally, Taipei will probably focus on strengthening its ties with these unofficial allies, more major countries, and make sure they are rock solid.
All right, thanks, Louise. That was Louise Watt, and we will have more on the developments in Tuvalu on TaiwanPlus News at 6. Meanwhile, Taiwan and Eswatini, they have reaffirmed their long-standing diplomatic ties by signing a joint declaration here in Taipei. The foreign minister of the African nation praised Taiwan for helping to transform the lives of people in Eswatini, and she said her country wants to reiterate its, quote, constructive and sustainable alliance with Taipei. Taiwan and Eswatini, formerly known as Swaziland, they have had official ties for more than 50 years. It is one of Taiwan's 12 remaining diplomatic allies and the only one in Africa. Taiwan has deported 3 Chinese dissidents who are seeking asylum in a third country. The immigration agency says the 3 failed to provide valid entry visas and were removed from the country according to the law. The Chinese nationals are now in Malaysia. That's their previous stop before arriving at Taiwan Airport on Tuesday. At least one of these dissidents fears arrest if returned to China. Taiwan does not have asylum laws. Activists in Taiwan have gathered to show solidarity with Myanmar and its struggle against the country's junta. But they also say that Taiwan should do more to help. Rick Lau reports from Taiwan's legislature.
It's now been 3 years since Myanmar's elected leaders were ousted in a military coup. Resistance to the junta has plunged that Southeast Asian country into civil war. Now, here at Taiwan's legislature, activists are calling on Taiwan to do more to help Myanmar's people push for democracy. They're demanding Taiwan does more to help the tens of thousands of Burmese people that live here and can't return home. They also want Taiwan to allow Myanmar refugees to settle in Taiwan, and they're calling on Taiwan to join other countries in sanctioning the junta.
现在说我们缅甸民主倒退了，说我们必须要进步到。我们要走抗议到底到民主的路的时候，台湾也是一个民主的国家，民主的政府，不管是执政党、在野党也好，必须要看的一个民主的路线，需要帮忙我，就对的。
Taiwan prides itself on its democracy and being one of the freest places in Asia. Now, activists here are saying Taiwan should do more to live up to its reputation and help its neighbours. Alex Chen and Rick Lowett in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's ruling party has expelled 50 members for violating its rules. The Democratic Progressive Party's Central Evaluation Committee says these members either campaigned for other political parties or were involved in Me Too scandals. Those expelled include a former lawmaker, Julian Guo. He has criticized the party on political TV shows. Taiwan court has issued a wanted persons order for 2 people who were involved in the sinking of a container ship last year. The CEO and the former captain of the Palau-listed ship, Angel, they are overseas and did not show up for their court hearing. They're suspected of hiding damage to the vessel before it sank off of Kaoshiung port last July. That led to the loss of more than 600 shipping containers, as well as an oil leak that cost over $6 million to clean up. Taiwan's Labor Fund has reported record-breaking returns for 2023, outperforming a similar scheme in South Korea. Returns on investments in the country's 2 labor funds totaled over $22 billion, with an average return rate of almost 13%. As of December, those funds grew to just over $200 billion, marking a new annual record. The world's second-largest pension scheme in South Korea saw 9% growth in 2023, while Norway's wealth fund, the world's largest, saw returns of just over 16%. Four-legged friends are more than just pets for many people here in Taiwan. And with a cost of living crisis plaguing the country, pampered pets are replacing babies. Rosie Granger has the story.
More and more prams are visible on Taipei streets. But on closer inspection, it's pets in the carriers and not babies.
那你在薪水不涨的情况下，当然会选择能够陪伴又好玩又有爱的毛小孩。对啊。
According to a study by the Taiwanese Institute of Economic Research, less young people are wanting to start a family. But despite the soaring cost of living, the number of registered dogs and cats reached over 2 million last year, outpacing the number of babies being born.
但现阶段其实大家都会称他们是毛孩，就是真的把它当成家人啊，当成小孩在看待。所以对于医疗的要求，对于生活的品质，这些其实都有在逐渐往上提升的状态。
And those who have pets say it's easier and cheaper than having a child.
养一个毛小孩来讲，其实他也不会对我们哭，也不会对我们闹，也不会可能未来发生很多社会的问题。他顶多就可能就是叫，或者是可能也都是安静的在一个地方。那我们人也需要一些心灵上的支持。
The Institute's study predicts the number of pets in Taiwan could exceed the number of children by 2027, a concern for the country, which has one of the lowest birth rates in the world. To try and curb an aging population crisis, the government has even offered subsidies to entice people to marry and have kids. During the recent campaign, billionaire presidential candidate Terry Go went as far as promising a pet to expected parents for every child they have.
生一个孩子，我让你多养一只宠物啊，猫啊狗啊。
But the scheme didn't land well with voters, who criticised him for being out of touch with the pressures parents face with a newborn. So instead, they're spending their hard-earned dollars on their furry friends. It's good news for the country's booming pet industry, with Taiwanese decking their pets out with the latest accessories, clothing, and treating them to gourmet meals. Positively pampered. Eason Chen and Rosie Granger for TaiwanPlus.
The dragon is traditionally the most popular Chinese zodiac sign, one that even influences family planning. Despite the overall declining birth rate in Taiwan, the Year of the Dragon consistently saw a spike in the number of babies born. However, this particular dragon year may be an exception. Yujing Huang has more.
These babies were the first to arrive in 2024, and among the last rabbit babies born under the Chinese zodiac sign of the rabbit. Next up in the cycle is the dragon. This traditionally has meant a spike in the number of babies. The dragon is the most powerful and auspicious of the 12 zodiac signs, and many couples plan to have a baby in a dragon year. But after Taiwan's birth rate hit a new low in 2023, it seems there won't be a rebound in the Year of the Dragon. Based on the number of prenatal checkups in the bottom half of last year, the dragon year magic is no longer working. Part of the reason is that people no longer put as much stock in traditional beliefs.
我也觉得生肖只是一个文化象征嘛。
可能我没有想要生小孩，对，所以还好，没有什么感觉。
我觉得每个生肖都很好啊，就是每个动物都很可爱。
Since 1976, Taiwan's birth rate has continually dropped, partially because of growing use of birth control in family planning. But fluctuations in the birth rate continue to follow traditional beliefs in Chinese zodiac signs. There are fewer babies born in the year of tiger. This sign is considered unlucky, so tiger people might find themselves not invited to weddings or other celebrations. Births bounce back in the following year of the rabbit, and then climb in the auspicious year of dragon. But this dragon year may be an unusual one for several reasons, one being an effect of the COVID-19 pandemic, when fewer people got married.
Marriage rates have been declining since several years ago. And because marriage and childbearing is still so closely linked in Taiwan and in many East Asian countries, so when there's a continuous decline in marriage counts or marriage rate, usually what we are seeing is that fertility rates will decline together.
To boost the birth rate in Taiwan in the shorter term, an easier way is to encourage married couples that already have one child to have another. But Dr. Jian Pei Huang, an obstetrician, says some mothers might not want to have a second child because of imbalanced gender roles, where women don't get the support they need from their partners.
那这个孕期忧郁其实它的发生比例也相当的高，高达20%以上，在国内也是这样。那如果他没有得到一个好的处理的话，这个度过孕期忧郁症的妈咪好像从地狱中好不容易才回来一样，你要她再去生个小孩她是打死都不愿意了。
In previous generations, the year of the dragon helped boost the number of babies, even when the overall birth rate declined. It's a stark reflection on conditions in Taiwan that not even the lure of this magical and powerful sign can get people to want to have children. Justin Wu, P.T. Zhang, and Yujin Huang for TaiwanPlus.
The year of the rabbit is coming to an end, but it's not been a good year for the animals, with hundreds of them abandoned around the country. Sandy Chi explains.
This is 收店不做了, which means out of business in Mandarin Chinese. He's a fluffy little bunny adopted in the year of the rabbit and abandoned just after a few months. He's now in the care of the Taiwan Rabbit Saving Association.
它是我们从收容所的接回来的兔子，那它当时好像只有3个月左右的幼兔。
In the months he's been with the association, staffers say this little guy has developed a cuddly, outgoing personality. But it's also become clear why he was abandoned.
At less than a year old, 收店不做了 was abandoned because of problems with his legs, and he is just one of the over 200 rabbits here.
The association says it normally takes in around 200 bunnies a year from animal shelters and illegal farms. Many are also found abandoned on the streets and sent to the facility. But in 2023, the year of the rabbits, that number spiked to 350, far too many for the group to handle.
8、9月的这一段时间，我们的收容量已经爆满，就是已经没有办法再继续收容了。有很多的案件，我们没有办法提供直接收容的方式，我们会帮忙做就是送养的刊登啊、自助送养会这一些管道，帮忙这一些捡到弃兔的朋友，然后来做送养。
The number of abandoned rabbits spiked in 2023 because people bought bunnies that year, believing that they would bring fortune and prosperity.
大家到了兔年就会觉得说，哎，我要去养一只兔子讨个吉利，或者是甚至是把小兔子当做礼物去送给亲朋好友。可是他们这些冲动饲养的状态下，他们不会去了解到说兔子应该要怎么样正确饲养。
Pet shops benefit from the belief and sell more rabbits. But shops and rabbit lovers say it's not so simple to raise a pet rabbit.
卖的最好还是侏儒兔，荷兰侏儒兔卖的最好，因为它体型最小，单价算比较低的，我们都会交代得很清楚，也不希望新手不会养，或是老手养错了。
The association and some pet shops hope people will pay more attention to caring for their rabbits, or find other ways to wish for good fortune and luck. Kaoshiung and Sandy Chi for TaiwanPlus.
Thanks for joining us for What's Up Taiwan. Finally, chill out and get ready for the weekend with these animals getting icy treats to battle a heat wave at a zoo in Chile. I'm Eric Gao, and we'll see you later.